Okay, so you're here with us again because I guess you want to know like what's really moving the crypto world right now.
That's right. And there's so much happening, right? It's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes. Try to keep up with all this stuff.
Seriously, I mean even just this week, right? So what we're doing in this deep dive is we're cutting through that clutter, taking a look at the big things that are really driving crypto right now.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and I think it helps to have kind of a framework for thinking about it all.
Yeah.
So we're going to touch on like everything from US policy,
Yeah.
the regulatory landscape, what's happening with AI tokenization,
hmm
meme coins, layer ones, the pinnet, like all the big buzzwords basically.
Buzzwords, but also like real actual developments, right? So let's start with something that's been in the news a lot lately, and that's Trump.
Right, former President Trump. Yeah, his pro-crypto stance is still a major factor. I mean,
Yeah.
even though he's not in office, he still holds a lot of sway with a certain segment of the population, and that definitely includes some crypto enthusiasts.
Yeah, and you've got things like this idea of a strategic Bitcoin reserve potentially funded by seized assets coming up again, and of course, his recent crypto summit made headlines. So, I mean, is this just talk, or is there a chance some of this could actually happen?
Well, it's tough to say for sure, but the fact that these ideas are being discussed at all is significant,
Yeah.
right? It shows that crypto is becoming more and more mainstream, and that there's a growing desire to see it integrated into traditional finance.
Yeah, and there's all the speculation about Trump-backed Bitcoin ETFs too, especially with all the uncertainty in the markets right now after those tariff announcements.
Right, and that's a really interesting point because you've got this potential for like a perfect storm almost, right?
Yeah.
If these ETFs were to actually happen and then you had the Federal Reserve start cutting rates,
Yeah.
well, that could be a huge catalyst for crypto.
But then there's also the potential downside, right? I mean, those Liberation Day tariffs that people are talking about, the ones that could supposedly trigger like a wider economic crisis, could that completely derail things?
Yeah, that's the big question mark, right? I mean, on the one hand, you have this potential for a pro-crypto administration to really push things forward. But on the other hand, if the economy tanks, well, everything could go down with it, crypto included.
So it's kind of like a high risk, high reward situation then. Okay, well let's move on to something a little less let's say politically charged, shall we? What about AI?
No. Oh yeah, that's a big one. And it's only getting bigger. AI is being integrated into blockchain projects in all sorts of interesting ways, and you've got projects like Virtuals Protocol Fetch.ai, Bitensor. These are all gaining a lot of attention.
Yeah, virtual tattle dollars. I've seen those symbols popping up everywhere lately. What is it about these projects that's getting people so excited?
Well, I think it's the focus on practical utility, right? Like the concept of AI agents, these autonomous bots that can handle all sorts of on-chain tasks like trading and yield optimization. I mean, that has the potential to revolutionize how we use crypto.
So it's not just about holding digital coins anymore, it's about actually using them in more sophisticated ways.
Interesting. Okay, and speaking of tangible applications, let's talk about real-world assets, RWAs.
Yeah, RWAs are huge right now. The idea of tokenizing things like real estate and art, it's really gaining traction. And you've got projects like Mantra PropChain, Rio, all seeing some pretty impressive gains.
MNTL 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right, and BlackRock even launched their own tokenized treasury fund, which has already passed $500 million.
Yeah.
So clearly the institutional interest is there. But what about regulation?
Well, that's the key piece of the puzzle, right? If we want to see widespread adoption of RWAs, we need clear regulations, and that's where the SEC's Crypto Task Force comes in. They're working on developing a framework that could really help to accelerate this whole sector.
So it sounds like RWAs have the potential to be like a major bridge between the traditional financial world and the crypto world.
Okay.
For something completely different, meme coins.
Meme coins, yes.
Uh,
The wild west of crypto. I mean, they've had a rough start to the year, though, haven't they? Yeah, Dogecoin, Shiba, Inu, Floki, they've all taken a beating recently.
Well, that's the thing with meme coins, right? They're driven by community sentiment and online hype, which can be incredibly volatile. So,
Yeah.
one minute they're soaring, the next minute they're crashing.
So is it all just a gamble? Or could some of these meme coins actually have staying power?
It's tough to say. I mean, Dogecoin, for example, is still a cultural phenomenon, but its future is definitely uncertain. And then you have projects like Flocali and PP, which are still generating a lot of buzz on X. But it all really depends on what Bitcoin and Ethereum do. If they rally, the meme coins could follow. But if not, well, it could be a long road back.
Right. Okay, well, we've got time for one more topic, and that's layer one blockchains and DEPIN. I mean, we're seeing so much momentum behind these high performance chains like Solana and newer entrants like Chain, which, by the way, is up something like 42% this week alone.
Yeah, Deep Red's definitely one to watch. Okay. But I think Deep End is where things get really interesting. These are projects that are using crypto incentives to build real-world infrastructure and services. Like Render, for example. They're using a decentralized network of GPUs to provide rendering services.
So we're talking about things that have actual real world applications. I like it.
Exactly, and that's what's attracting a lot of long-term investors. They see DeepIn as a way to connect crypto to tangible utility, and that's a powerful narrative.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Trump AI, RWAs, meme coins, layer ones, deepen. It's clear that the crypto space is constantly evolving.
It is, and I think what we're seeing is a maturing ecosystem, one that's moving beyond just speculation and towards real-world applications and infrastructure.
And that brings us to my final question for you. Out of all these trends, which one do you think will have the most significant and lasting impact on the broader economy? Is it the evolving regulatory landscape, the fusion of crypto with AI, the bridging of digital and physical assets, the power of decentralized communities, or the creation of real-world infrastructure powered by crypto? I think that's something for all of us to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the crypto world.